Hiya, it's Hannah the Artisan Duck. I have a bead weaving project today. I made myself these earrings the other week, and this is a peyote stitch triangle, and I thought it would be fun to show how I made them. So you can see the colours I've used here. Today's project I am using this really pretty pastel colour scheme, mainly because I'm ready for spring. So I've got a pale purple, a pale pink and a pale green. Right, to get started we need a beading needle and some beading thread. This is about an arm span of thread, and I'm using white because my beads are quite pale. So if you're new to this type of stitch, we start in the middle and then we work our way out. So the first thing we need to do is pick up 3 of the greens. Right, so the first step is to pick up our 3 beads, which I've done there, and I'm going to move them down the thread, leaving a relatively good tail thread because obviously we need to knot that off and weave it in at the end. I'm going to hold the first bead added and I'm going to take my needle through it again, but I'm going from the opposite direction. So the thread's coming out this way and I'm going in on the opposite side, and when you pull the thread you'll end up with the beads forming a triangle like that. Now I'm using Wildfire thread, and I have to say if you pull it, it does tend to hold the shape quite well. If you're using another thread it might slip a little more, so you might need to keep pulling to tighten it up. From there I'm going to pick up 2 more green, like that, and I'm going to take the needle, so we're exiting out of this one here where my thumb is, and we're going to take the needle through the next bead along and pull, and you can see it causes those 2 beads to sit one on top of the other like that. So the next step is to pick up 2 more beads, and we're exiting out of this one and we're going to take the needle into the next one along. So there's the 2, and we're going to take it into the next bead, and might need to just wiggle those beads around to get them to sit right. There we go. You can see that they're now sitting on top. So we need to do this one more time. So we're exiting out of this bead here and we need to take the needle into the next bead along. There's our beads. I'm going to take it into the next bead along. Like that. And now we've finished that circuit round and we need to move on to the next level of beading. So we need to take our needle, so we're coming out of this bead here, we need to take our needle into the next bead which is sitting right on top. So it's one of the new beads that we've just added in this step. And now we've moved up to the next level of beading and we've started the inside of that triangle. Right, from here we're going to pick up 2 more greens again. There we go, like that. And we're going to take the needle into the next one along, just like we did before, and get them to sit one on top of the other. But now, before we move on to the next bead here, there's a gap. So we need to fill that in. And because we're using pink to go up the inside edges, we need to pick up our first pink bead. So there's our pink. And we're just going to take it through that next bead along. And you can see this is one of the ones we've added that's sitting on top of the inner beading. Pull it through, and that's now filling that gap nicely, so we can go on, pick up 2 more greens. There we go. And then we're going to go through the next green along because you need these 2 to sit on top of each other like that. and then we need to fill in this gap before we can move on to the next green bead. So we're going to go pick up a pink like that, and in through that green, there we go, and you can see that's starting to take shape already. So the next thing to do is to pick up 2 more greens, and this will, once you've added this, it'll force these beads to sit right anyway. So there's 2 greens. I'm going to go into the next green along, pull your thread, get those to sit on top of each other like that, and now we need to fill in this gap here. So we just pick up another pink. Now obviously if your beads were going in a different pattern, your colour choices would be different at various points, but this is just for the pattern I want on my earrings. And we're going to take it into the next green along, which is this one, like that. Now we've gone all the way around and we're ready to start on the next level of beading. So we need to take our needle and move it up here through the bead that's on the top, pull, there we go, and we're now ready to start on the next circuit of beading. So each time you've done all 3 sides, you step up to the top bead. So quite predictably we're going to pick up 2 more greens. So picked up 2 more greens and we're going to take them down into there. Now we're still dealing with the edge. I'll just grab the earring to show you what I mean. So we've got the green in the middle and we've got the pink going up all the way around the edge of the green, and then the purple comes into the middle. So because we're still working on the edge here, we're going to pick up a pink. There's our pink bead. I'm going to take it through the pink there. We're just filling in that gap until we can get to the next green. That's how I think of it anyway. And we've got another gap here between this pink and the green, if you can see that. So we're going to pick up another pink. And then we're going to take it up. Oops. And into that green there. There we go. So I'm now going to go on and pick up 2 greens and then a pink there. And I'm going to go right round the circuit until I've done, added 2 pink beads to each of these sides here. Right, you can see I've added every pink bead round apart from this last one. I've got the bead on my thread. I've just come back to show you that we're going to take the needle, because this is the end of the row, we're finishing off the row first before we step up to the next level. So we're going to go through this lower green here, and then we can take our needle up through the top, ready to start our next circuit round. So pick up 2 more green, and we get to use a little bit of purple on this round as well, and take it down into that next green along. So there's an awful lot of repetition on this because they're perfectly symmetrical, and we are adding a side bead. So because of the pattern I've got, we're going to go with pink into this pink bead here and pull, and now we're starting to fill in this gap here, you can see. So my centerpiece there is purple, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up a purple bead, and then you take your needle into the next pink along, like oops, that, and now we need a pink to fill in this gap here. So we're going to pick up a pink, go into the green, just like that, and then we're ready to start again with picking up 2 more greens. There we go. I've added those greens. I'm going to go around now and do the other two sides exactly the same as that one, and I shall be back in a second. Right, there we go. I've gone all the way around and I've just gone into this green here. So we're now ready to step up to the next level and do the next circuit of beading. And honestly, you could stop at any point. If you don't want an earring as big as the ones that I'm making, you could stop and add your loop, which I will show you how to do in a minute. But yeah, you can make them any size you want. So I'm going to start again, picking up two greens. And we're going to take it into the next green along here. Oops. And because we're working our way at the edge, we're going to pick up a pink. Into the next pink along. And so I'm constantly checking the tension as well by coming off and making sure that that's all pulled tight, because obviously there's no knots in this yet, so I am keeping it quite firm in my hands. We're now going to add in these two gaps here because this is the middle piece, so we're going to pick up purples. So one purple there and into that purple bead. And then pick up another purple and into the pink. And then just to finish that row off, we need another pink and then onto the greens. There you go, just like that. So I'm going to pick up two more greens and work my way around the rest of the shape, so I should be back in a minute. There we go, I've gone all the way around and I'm exiting out of that green one there because it's the end of the circuit. So I'm going to step up to the green one up there for the next round. Now this is the last round where we're just simply going round adding beads in this manner, and then the circuit after that changes slightly. So we're going to start off by picking up two green beads and into this corner. Like that, and then because we're adding onto the edge, it's going to be pink there, and then in the middle we're going to fill in three gaps with purple and then a pink on the end. So it's quite obvious once you see what the pattern is. Like so, and then onto the purples. One, two, right, so there's the three purples to fill in that gap. We're onto the pink, And we're going to go into that green, like so. And then we start all over again by picking up 2 green and filling in those gaps. So I shall go and do those and come back when that is done. There we go, I've gone all the way around and we've very nearly finished our earring now. So I'm just going to step up to this green here. And you can either leave this, the corners sort of quite blunt, but I like to add a little more definition onto the corners just to make them a bit sharper. So this will be our final pass around the beading, and we're going to, instead of picking up 2 beads at this point, we're just going to pick up the 1. So we'd pick up 1 bead and go into the green and pull down, and you can just see it adds that little detail to the top of that triangle there. Right, now we're going to fill in the sides as normal. So we're going to do pink and then purples in these gaps and then a pink on the end here. So I shall go ahead and do those. There we go, we've reached the next corner, so we're just going to start again by picking up 1 bead, 1 green bead that is. So there's our green bead, pop it on, like so, and then we're ready to go off and do the remaining 2 sides. So I shall pop back when I've done both of those sides and add the loop with you. There we go, we've gone all the way around and we've reached the first little corner bead that we put on there. So we're going to take the needle through that bead and we're going to add the loop now to hang our earring wire. And we're going to pick up 5 green beads. Like so, if you can see them. There you go, so there's my 5 beads, and we're going to take the needle back into this bead, but again from that direction, so we can see we're exiting out of here, and we're going to loop round, and it'll form a loop when you pull. Now because this is where some of the, you know, if you were to tug your earring, you know, you don't want this 3 thread to snap, so I'm just going to take my needle back through all those beads again, like so. I'll pull it tight in a minute, like that. I can't speak and do this at the same time. And then we're going to go back into that bead there, and then we're just going to pull the beadwork, pull the thread, and it'll make it all sit nicely, and you can just play around with that if it's pulled the beads out of shape slightly. There you go. There's our loop. Now I'm going to take my threads and I'm going to knot into the beadwork with both threads, so the one we're working with and our tail thread, and then we can cut off the excess. So all I do is just take my needle and I'm just going to move it away from the top there for a second before I tie some knots. There, like that. I might move away a little bit more. The beadwork can be a little bit tight at this point, but you'll figure out how to get some knots in there. Now all you need to do is go across some of the threads that are going between the beads, and you're going to catch those and tie knots round. With this stitch, I found it was almost easier to sort of go down, between the beads. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, like that, because you can't necessarily see the threads so easily. So I'm going down on the inside of those, between that green and that pink, and then I'm going to come up the inside of the bead, and I'm going to take that loop that I've left here, push my needle through the loop and pull the thread through, and when you pull, it'll pull a knot and that'll disappear, and then we're going to go down into the bead below it, just like that, and pull, and you can see there's no knot visible, it's hidden inside that bead. I would do that quite a few times as you go around the beadwork, and the same with this other thread. So I'm going to go off and do that and come back when I've finished. There we go, there's my little shape. I've cut off both of the threads so it's complete. Just need to add the earring wire now, so I'm using one of these fishhook earrings. All you do is twist to open, pop your loop in, close up, oops, close up that loop again, and you've got your really cool peyote triangle earrings. Just thought I'd show before I go that I've been working on a necklace using exactly the same stitch that we've used for the earrings, but I'm making different size triangles which I plan to string together and put a pretty little beaded chain on to make a bit of a statement necklace. So all being well, that will make up my next tutorial. So if you would like to see that, maybe think about subscribing or whatever, but yeah, that'll be the next one. Fingers crossed. All right, until next time, see ya. Bye bye.